Thanks for tuning in and welcome to this week's review of Sicko, directed by Michael Moore.
The intent is to maximize profits.
If you denied more people health care, you got a bonus.
When you don't spend money on somebody, it's a savings to the company.
I want America to have the finest health care in the world.
4 health care lobbyists for every member of Congress. Here's what it costs to buy these men, and this woman, this guy, and this guy. And the United States slipped to 37 in health care around the world, just slightly ahead of Slovenia.
Now, first things first, this is not only going to be a review of the movie Sicko, but this is also going to be a little bit of a commentary on the state of healthcare in America and some other thoughts I personally have on this subject, as well as a few others. So if you don't want to hear any of what I have to say about any of this, then I'll just tell you right now that Sicko was a good, thought-provoking movie that I do think everyone should see. And almost everyone applauded at the end of this film. I want to try something a little different for this review. I feel this is an important subject, and want all the viewers of this movie and this video to post their thoughts on this movie and their personal experiences regarding healthcare to this video. People always feel like they don't make a difference. Well, this is YouTube. You can have your voice heard here. The government, the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies all rely on the general public's complete and utter apathy to not make changes that need to be made. How will things ever change if no one speaks up? I know when people get done seeing this movie, they're going to be pretty worked up. And 2 weeks later, it's almost all forgotten. And I really hope this isn't the case. But unfortunately, that's exactly what got us in this position we're in right now. So I hope that people who are watching this video will indeed take the time to post their stories below. Or even better, make a video response to tell their own personal story regarding the problems we have with the healthcare system we currently have in place today. And please only attach videos that are related to this subject. I will leave the video response section open to accept all video responses. Or if you can't make a video response, please post your story below in the comments section. When you walk out of the theater, most of the time you see a movie like Hostel, or you see 1408, or for me, Shrek. That was pretty painful. Or even Kicking It Old School. Whew. Well, the problem with certain movies is when you walk out of the movie, it's like the beginning, not the end. Because it really is a problem. You got a guy in this movie, his brother, he's got a perfect match for a bone marrow transplant that could save his life. Denied. He's dead now. And you're looking at this and saying, how is this possible? You have a system where you have a guy who finds a match, and they're calling it experimental surgery to give him a bone marrow transplant. And this is legal. This man's dead now. All because someone said it was experimental. Why? Because it would cost money. They don't want to cough it up. They have no problem cashing your checks every month when you take them in. They have no problem cashing that damn check. But when you're talking about maximizing profits, how do you maximize profits if you're an insurance company? You maximize a profit by not paying out. It's like a bad slot machine. You have better luck getting paid off in Vegas than you do from an insurance company dealing with the hospital. If you've seen the movie Sicko or you're interested in seeing the movie Sicko, definitely need to check out a few movies, documentaries that are out right now on DVD. I'm going to name them off real quick because I could probably talk about 10 hours on each one of these because they're that interesting and that important. The first one is Enron, Smartest Guys in the Room. The second one is Why We Fight. The third one is Super Size Me. Most of you have probably seen that one already. That's probably the most known of these. Another one is The Corporation. And the last one is Who Killed the Electric Car? So for all those environmentalists out there who really want a big green earth and want to protect the environment, save the ozone, global warming, all those little buzz phrases we keep hearing ad nauseum, check out the movie Who Killed the Electric Car. And then you got to ask yourself, these people that are telling us to care, these people are telling us to save, recycle, protect the earth, how in the world can this happen? Watch Who Killed the Electric Car. It'll blow your mind because these people in California and all these people all over the world that, especially in our country, who are talking about all this global warming, protect the earth, protect the environment, recycle, all these things that I have pounded in my head for the past 20 plus years. When you see Who Killed the Electric Car, ask yourself this question. How in the world can they create an electric car, make something that is supposed to be so environmentally friendly, and then basically have the car companies never sell one of these cars? They were never sold to the general public. They were leased, which means that once the lease period was over, the car was recalled. So you had no one own these cars. Not one person owned these cars. They had people like Jay Leno and all these other, famous people, Tom Hanks or whatever in this movie that had cars like this, had these electric cars or hybrid cars, and they loved them. They're famous people. These people have money. These people have power. Jay Leno, Tom Hanks, these people have some pull. And where is all the outrage? I'm sure they're slightly unhappy with this. But you would think people with this kind of pull have friends, and these people would do whatever. This just goes to show you how big business can make anything happen in their favor. So if you get a chance again, really check these movies out. Great movies, DVDs that are out right now. You can check them out. They're brilliant movies, great documentaries. Again, Enron, Smartest Guys in the Room, Why We Fight, Super Size Me, The Corporation, and Who Killed the Electric Car. If you get a chance, put these in your queue, go to Blockbuster. Most of the time, you can't find these movies. They're not well known. The only one you're probably going to find readily available is Super Size Me. But the other ones you're probably going to have to go maybe on Amazon or go to eBay, or probably the best way to find them is go to like a Netflix or Blockbuster, put them in your queue, because they will have those there. But to try and find these in a store, to find these on a shelf, is not as common. So if you get a chance, do check these out. The movie Sicko is another movie you definitely need to see. Most of you know Michael Moore's movies already. You've seen the Fahrenheit 9/11s, you've seen the Bowling for Columbines, maybe even Roger and Me. I pretty much own them all. So, and not because I agree with everything Michael Moore says in his movies or agree with all his ideals. Sometimes I completely agree with him, sometimes I completely don't. But it is good to have a voice out there that is giving a different point of view. And some people, I notice when on my reviews, when I'm doing movie reviews, that if I like a movie and they like a movie, they'll agree with me and they'll think it's great. But if they have a difference of opinion, it's not even about the movie anymore, it's about me personally. It's like, look, people are allowed to have different thoughts and ideas. That's what makes the freedom of speech important. That's why it works. That's why it is one of the most important things we have in any country, is the right to free speech. And I'll tell you, when you're a kid, you don't understand free speech, because all you're thinking is, I want people to have the same ideas as me. I want to be around people of like minds. Well, if you're around people of like minds, you don't ever get exposed to anything new. You don't have the chance to experience something different. And if you ever want to see, and it sounds like a funny movie to bring up, but The People versus Larry Flint probably illustrates, in the final scenes of the movie when they're in front of the Supreme Court, probably illustrates better than I think anyone could ever try to describe why freedom of speech is so important. Because the most important line in that movie is, where do you draw the line? It becomes unpopular speech, not freedom of speech. And that's one of the things I think is so important to remember, is that if you start having a certain group of people start to dictate what is correct and what you can say, and once you start censoring, where does it stop? And that's why you have to either be for free speech or you have to be against free speech. You can't have a form of free speech. You have to either have free speech or not. It's really that simple. So if you ever want to see, like, again, most of you probably already seen it, but The People versus Larry Flint is probably one of the best examples of freedom of speech and why it's so important. I need to wrap this video up. I recorded well over an hour of thoughts on this subject, the movie Sicko. There's so much to discuss, and a feature film was made. I'm sure God knows how much footage they had when it came down to cutting this film up and putting it together. And the same thing with this particular review, because it is so important. This is healthcare. This is our country. This is things that need to be done or fixed. And in trying to encapsulate this in 5 to 10 minutes is just impossible. And the only thing, I just want to wrap this up in saying that, see this movie, recommend this movie to your friends. I know that Michael Moore, as a person and as a director, can be a very polarizing figure, but it doesn't matter. The subject matters. What's important, not the person or whether you like or dislike him. So again, this subject is so broad and it's so important, and there's so much to discuss that it can really just go on forever. Again, thanks for listening. Please don't forget, post your stories in this video comments, or just comments below of your stories of what has happened to you. If enough people can speak up, then maybe something finally can be done to fix all this. I just want to thank everyone for listening to this video, and hope you see this movie and support this movie, support this video, support any video on this subject, and try to make a difference and try to make changes that need to be made. Again, thanks for listening.